Alright guys, today we're here to put together a Holeshot Products parachute kit. They are offered in both single and dual chute. Assembly is pretty much the same regardless. The difficult part is wrapping the chute itself. I'm going to walk you through how I do it today. Doesn't mean it's the right way to do it, but it's effective, and hopefully it will give you guys some tips to have success with your own kit. Alright, let's tear into the package once and see what all comes. So first we have the parachute core, the mount itself, the cord to connect the two, the cable that would be used to open the chute on a real car, sticker, a pin, the fabric, and then all of our chute kits do come with a cool little battery disconnect that you can paint and mount on the back of your car. So your parachute core is pre-drilled for both the cord and the pin. The first step that I like to do is to take my scissors, cut the cord off a little bit of an angle just to help it go into the hole a little easier. And then you put a dab of glue inside of the hole and slide your cord in and let that set up, and then we'll get ready to wrap it. So anytime I'm applying glue on one of these, I put a little dab of glue onto a business card or a scrap piece of stock board. I use toothpicks to get nice small quantities of glue. So I'll take a toothpick and put just a little bit of glue in the hole. Slide the cord in. It should slip right in there. Give that a couple minutes to set up, and then we'll start wrapping. Alright, once the glue on your cord dries, I take a black Sharpie, and I usually put my seam where the fabric comes together on the same edge as where the cord is. So I'll just take a black Sharpie and color this area black to make sure that if there's any little tiny gaps in your fabric, you won't notice them and that they'll look black. So get that colored, and then I'll take my piece of fabric, and it's going to go this direction to start with. So I will first of all take my scissors and try and trim this up as square as I can, and then I will just knock this little tiny corner off right here so that it can go around the cord. Put a dab of glue down. I'll take my toothpick, and you just want a really light coat of glue across the surface of the whole thing, that whole side that you're going to do first. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Just take your fabric, line it up along the bottom edge, overhanging on the top, and then just hold that in place for a couple minutes until the glue sets up a little, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright guys, been a few minutes, glue's all set up. So what we're going to do is apply some glue on this surface, wrap it, hold it, do the next surface, wrap it, hold it, do the last surface, wrap it, hold it, and just kind of let the tail end hang over, and we'll come back and trim it up then. But I use the exact same process. Take my toothpick, just get a nice thin layer of glue across that whole thing. Hopefully you guys can see that. And then just fold it over and hold it. Wait for this side to dry, and then we'll do the other two. I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and we'll move on from there. Alright, so we got this wrapped the whole way around now. You can see that we have this tag end here hanging. So what I do is pull this back, pull the cord back out of the way, take a pair of scissors, try and make sure that you're using a very sharp pair of scissors. I like to take this top blade because it gives you a nice clean flush cut, and just rest the sharp edge right along the core of the parachute, and then just give that a little trim. You can see you have a nice corner there. You know, anything that isn't perfectly flush or any small gaps you may have there, especially around the cord, will be hidden by that Sharpie that we put on there earlier. Then I take all four corners and just put a nice crease in the material that's sticking up, so we know where our corners are, because we'll be trimming those areas here in the next couple steps, and we'll move forward here and get the top of this all put together. Alright, now that we got our corners creased, take a nice sharp hobby knife and then basically lay the back of the blade right along the ridge, right along one of these ridges, poke it through the fabric and then pull it upwards so that you get 4 flaps. You'll do it on all 4, well, only 3 of the 4 corners because one of them is where the seam is, but poke that through there, pull up. Do the same thing on this corner. Of course, watch your fingers. Do it here in the last corner. There you go. And now in the next step, we'll start folding these down and getting this thing finished up, and it'll look like a chute. Alright guys, we got our 4 corners cut. We have our 4 flaps. Time to wrap this present up. Next thing you're going to want to do is take your scissors and you're going to want to trim these down. They're pretty long. You're going to want to trim them down so that they're just long enough to overhang the middle when you push them over. So trim these up here quick. Oop. So get those guys trimmed up. Get yourself a nice little parachute package here. Get a dab of glue and a toothpick. Use a new toothpick here. Just take a little dab. Pick any surface to start on. You're just going to work your way around on all 4 of them. Try and keep the glue on just a little triangle here that you're working on, but put the glue on it. Fold it over and hold it tight for a couple seconds till the glue sets, and we'll go from there. Alright, now that side's nice and set up, gonna fold down the 2 sides that are next to it so that they're out of the way and we don't accidentally cut them. Take our scissors. Again, I like to use the top blade from the top and just lay it right along that ridge and then just trim it off. And then to do the other side, you'll have to kind of come from the bottom up. There's our first side done. We're going to glue down the next side, trim it, glue down the third side, trim it, glue down the fourth side and trim it. And we'll come back and show you how to get this all cleaned up. One thing I did want to show you guys here as I finish up the third side is you know, my glue set up, and this is pretty hard, so I can't really get it to snip off nice and clean with the scissors to get that nice sharp edge I'm looking for. So just take yourself a hobby knife, run it right down that edge, get yourself trimmed up, and give you a nice area there to glue your last side on. Alright, so once we get her all wrapped up here, we got all 4 sides done. You can kind of see what it looks like. You know, there's some little strings hanging out, and you know, kind of needs cleaned up a little bit. We'll take care of that here in a minute. The next thing I like to do is take my pin. You know, the hole for the pin's pre-drilled from the front and the back. I like to put it through from the back, just to kind of get the hole opened on the top end. Push that the whole way through until it sticks out. Then you pull back out. Spin the chute around. Sometimes this takes a little bit of messing around to find, but find the hole, put the pin down in. Once you get it opened once, it's pretty easy to hit it again. So pull your pin back out, take your pair of side cutters, trim it down so that it doesn't stick through the back. You just don't want it to be sticking through the back so that the chute will mount on the mount when you want it to. And then just put it back in. And then to clean up all those loose ends, I just take a lighter and just very lightly hit all the seams, and it'll take care of all those loose ends, clean everything up. You have yourself a nice wrapped chute. Alright guys, next up we'll put this on the chute mount. So take our chute mount, take our toothpick, and we'll actually just put a little bit of glue right on the back surface of the chute. Make sure you get it down in the hole where the peg will go. This can go on here in any orientation. I prefer to keep my cord to the bottom left as you'd be looking at the back of the car, but put the peg in the hole, get it lined up nice and square where you want her. Let that set up, and once it sets up, there's actually a hole inside of the mount for the cord to go into, like so. So trim the cord down to where you want it. Take your toothpick, put a little dab of glue down in that hole. Take your cord, plop her in there. Ooh. Gonna have to clean this up a little bit. Kind of hard to see, try and keep my hands out of the way here. But hold that in there till she dries. And you know, the detail on the mount, you can see there is you'll probably be able to see it better once you get your own, but there is a bolt and a nut going through this as though there's a clevis there holding it, so you can paint those up accordingly. But you know, kind of get that cord however you want it. Mine's a little long just to make it easy for the video, so I don't have to futz around with it. But the last step would be to take your cable, take your hobby knife, and just peel back a little bit of this and make it nice. Get it shining like it's a cable. Take your needle nose pliers, put a small wrap in the middle of it, like so. Pull your pin back out one last time, put it through there, put your pin back in, and then you can take your cutters again, cut this down. You know, usually there's a little piece hanging out the other side of the chute, and then take this and bend it back towards your body. Take your body and drill a 1/8 inch hole in the back of it, and that chute will mount right back in there. Get that all lined up where you want her, glued in place from the back side. Poke a little hole next to it, you can put your cable through, and then the battery mount, or I'm sorry, the battery disconnect is a 1/16 inch hole. Drill yourself a little hole, get this all painted up, take some tweezers and plop it in there, and you'll have a drag car ready to go. If anybody has any questions, let me know.